All right, can someone confirm that you're hearing me?
I can hear you.
Great. All right, my computer is going to be a little slow because it's still running the lecture file. Where do I do that? Where we go? So please bear with me. And if you did miss the lecture, it just finished. It was a shorter lecture today. If you did miss the lecture, I'll post it on YouTube. You will need to see the short lecture for today. So view it on YouTube. Sorry I was late with the lecture today. Are there any questions? If not, today is October 13th, and we should be discussing Lab 5 today, Streaking for Isolation of Culture Media. It seems like I talked about this already.
I had some questions on that lab on 5 and 6.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm having some difficulties coming up with because basically they both lead to the same thing with not having isolated colonies. But I'm just a little confused on if we're not supposed to have the same answers for both.
Yeah, they should look different.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm kind of lost, because all that I can think of is that the bacterial cells will not be separated.
Yeah, they should look different on the cells. I'm checking what the heck today is because I'm not sure my computer is right. Let's go to calendar. So when you streak them on a plate, they should look different. Oh, this isn't helping me.
Are you wondering what today's date is?
Yes.
It's the 13th of October.
Okay, I've got that, but it seems to me we already discussed chapter 5. Am I wrong?
I think we did on Tuesday.
We did, yeah.
All right, so now today I'm only supposed to talk about the unknown project. All right, now I'm just a little confused. Now I understand what I'm supposed to do. So I did get it right. My computer is right. Thank you for telling me the day. I was a little confused that maybe my computer was showing me the wrong day. So we did discuss Lab 5, and there is a question. Question number 5 and 6 should look different. And where can I show how they would look? Because I don't have a picture of it. So let me go back to here. That didn't work. Oh, let's go to the .com there. So let's go www.google. Images. Play. Now what am I doing for each? I don't know if I'll get it. Oops, that wasn't right. Not seeing one. Well, here we go. This is sort of a plate that is streaked. Can I blow that up? Ah, I can't blow this up. There we go. This is sort of a plate which is streaked from each, the stock culture for each sector. And let's ignore this part right there because that looks a little different. But you notice how that streak and that streak and that streak, they're all pretty much looking the same. I didn't hear an answer.
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
that.
All right. And that's because you're streaking from the stock culture for each sector. And that differs from a plate where only the first one is, this is a better one. Only the first one is from the stock culture. The others are from the earlier sector. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you do from the sector, they look different. Meaning this is the one that's streaked from the stock culture. Okay. So
Okay.
that should tell you how they differ from 5 and 6.
Okay, because I know on 5 it asked about not sterilizing the inoculating loop. And I
I'm
wasn't
sorry, I
sure.
didn't hear that.
It asked about on number 5 not sterilizing the inoculating loop. And
Uh-huh.
that one threw me off a bit too. I would assume that it would look similar to what you showed
Yeah,
previously.
if you, let's see, I don't think I have that picture, but we can try and look for it. Streak obtain. I don't know if we'll find a picture of this. You're going to have to use your imagination because I can't find a picture that this is showing you streaking. And here you're sterilizing the loop in between each sector. And that makes a decrease in each sector. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't sterilize the loop between each sector, then you'll get no dilution from sector to sector. So that the only dilution is your streaking. So the further you streak, this is a little more dilute right here than up here. And when you continue streaking, you will continue the dilution because in reality, you don't have different sectors. If you don't sterilize the loop, there is no difference between sector 2 and sector 1. Sector 2 is just a continuation of sector 1. And then sector 3 is a continuation also of sector 1. And sector 4 is a continuation of sector 1 as well. So in reality, if you don't sterilize the loop, you don't have 4 different sectors. All you have is one very large sector.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there will be dilution, and that is when you're out here further, just because you're streaking, the bacteria will be dilute, but it's only the dilution like from here to there in sector 1. And obviously that'll be continued because you're doing it further, but it's not a dilution of each sector. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Oops. All right, shut down the thing. Let's go back to here. So I'm supposed to be talking about the unknown project. So let me call up that file and let's talk about the unknown project.
Are we doing that today or is that next Tuesday? Because that's in the next Tuesday column as well.
We're going to discuss it today. You're going to be starting it. Let me think about this.
Okay.
It looks like we're going to be starting it on Tuesday. So I'm going to discuss the project today. And you're going to start it on Tuesday. So I'll email you the first stuff on Tuesday, but I'm going to discuss it today. Oh, actually, I take that back. It does say read about it today, and I'm going to discuss it on Tuesday. Ah. Well, there's nothing planned for today, so I think I'm going to discuss the unknown project in the lab today. And let me get that file. You can find that file under week 5 lab, unknown instructions. I'm going to just download the file. Because it will display better. All right. Identification of the unknown bacteria. This will be a lab project worth 75 points. The idea is that you're going to be identifying an unknown bacteria, and it's all going to be done online. So I'm going to send you a number, which is going to represent a bacteria species. And then all term long, you're going to be running different tests to identify that bacteria species. And this is all going to be done online. Any questions about any of that? So how we're going to do this is you're going to use your unknown notes page, and you're going to request a test. Let me go to here. Shut that one down. The unknown list will show you the possible tests that we can run. I'll open that in a separate file because it'll display better than if I'm not opening it in Canvas. For some reason we're at the bottom there. And this is showing you, try and blow that up a little bit so you can see it better. Come on. On the left are all of the bacteria species that your unknown possibly could be. And the top ones are gram-negative. And then the bottom rows are gram-positives. So these are all of the possible species that your unknown bacteria could be. And then all the tests you can run are shown up here. You could run the gram test, you could do the shape, you could do the cellular arrangement, you can do gelatin, 6.5% sodium chloride, 7% sodium chloride, etc. Okay, and it scrolls all the way over here until we get to the motility test. Okay, so these are all the possible tests you can run. Now, the first time, I'm going to choose which tests you're going to run. And I'll just email the class the results of that test. So the first 3 tests I'm going to pick for you. And I can tell you what they're going to be. They're going to be the gram stain, the PR lactose test, and the gelatin hydrolysis test. So I'm going to pick 3 tests at the beginning, and I'm just going to send you the results. And what you do is you take the results for your bacteria and you put them in your unknown notes page. Let me go back here. That didn't go back. Why didn't that go back? Oh, that's the wrong file. Okay, I can close that down now. Let's go over here. Your unknown notes page, you got a link to it here. Everyone will have the unknown notes page. Put your results up in your unknown notes page. And you will have a link either here or up here for uploading information, uploading a document. I don't have that link because I'm an instructor. I've got the SpeedGrader link, but you can upload your information. You need to put in the results you got for your unknown bacteria. And then you take a look at the results you have and the possible species. Like if you got a gram-negative bacteria, you're only going to be looking at these possible species. Let me see if I can highlight that. Why isn't that highlighting? Looks like my Excel isn't working right. Oh, I got to enable. That's what the problem is. So let's go gram positives, gram negative, sorry, and highlight it. So your possible species are now that. And if it's gelatin hydrolysis positive, it narrows it down to these 4. Okay. And you got more results. We're not going to do that there, but well, actually, we can do the gram negatives, and they will be PR lactose negative. Doesn't narrow it any further. So it's these 4 species. And so you take a look at these 4 species and you pick a test to determine what would be a good test to separate these 4 species. And you might do something like PR glucose. So then you need to ask for the PR glucose test, and you will ask for that in the unknown notes page. Can I close that down? So you go ahead and put that at the bottom of your document. If you put it in the middle of your document, I'll have a hard time finding it. So make sure when you're requesting a test, you put it at the bottom of the document. Okay, and you should have in your unknown notes page, every time you add a document, you should have your test results from the previous test you asked for. So record your results. That's the observation. The tube was yellow. You should then have your conclusions, what that means. The test was positive for whatever the test was. Okay, so that's the difference between a result, that's the observation, and the conclusion. The conclusion is your interpretation. That should be written in your unknown notes page. And then you should talk about all in one place in the unknown notes page, what you're thinking is. So put in your comments, the stuff of your document, your daily activities, and then at the bottom of that page, say, I think my unknown bacteria could be this or that, and so let me run my next test. And my next test will be, we're going to just say anything, PR glucose. Okay, so put that at the bottom of this document. That's what should be in your unknown notes page. Do not add a comment, because I will be giving you results in the comments and I will be commenting. If you put a bunch of comments in, that means it'll be very hard to use the comments. Let me go to a previous class and just show you. I'll try not to show you who it is. Let me stop the share and I'll show you what this looks like. That should work. I'm calling up a previous student's unknown notes page. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Well, I'm going to try and hide the student's name so you don't see that. And see if I can be successful at hiding that. Yeah. Let's scroll down. Nope. How can I hide that? Maybe if I bring up something and put it over her name. There we go. Now I gotta pull that someplace else. Bring that back. Ah, success. All right. Oops. I think I got success. I just have to be careful here to not show you the student's name. All right. I'll share my screen. All right, so I'll give you the results in the comment section here. So do not add comments. If you add comments, I will just delete them. Okay, so you will put in here your results. And then at the bottom of the document, let me, I can't show you that. If I touch this, I'll lose this. And so, but at the bottom of the document, put in your test requests, okay? Any questions about any of that? Let me shut down the sharing of the screen because I don't think I'm going to be able to shut this down. Oh, come on. Sometimes Zoom is difficult to work. It's not giving me the, if I click on that, I'm going to know, well, maybe I can just shrink it down. There we go. You didn't see that, so that's good. Any questions about how the unknown notes page works? Everyone get that? So you're going to put your results in there, your interpretations, discuss anything about what you're thinking, like why you want to do a future test, what you think the results might be, stuff like that. Put that all in your unknown notes page. And then at the end, put in your test results. In the unknown notes page, you can put up an unlimited number of documents. See if I can get that back because I'm not able to get that. Guess I'm gonna shut that down. Why am I not able to get Zoom up here? Are there students here?
Yes.
Okay, for some reason I'm not able, there we go. There, now I have it. I was not able to get this screen back. So I'm shutting that down because I want to close the student page so you don't see the student.
Are we supposed to
Now
create
share the
a,
screen again. Sorry?
are we supposed to create a new notes page every time that we turn one in? Or is it just
Yes,
all in
every
one?
time you submit a document in your unknown notes page, you'll be submitting another document. Some students just take the previous document and then add to it, and that's okay. Or you could just, each time you submit it, add a separate document, and then I can put them all together because I can see the earlier documents. I can click on the link to see an earlier document. So either way works fine. If you're doing your unknown notes page very formally, it will be similar to your unknown report. Okay. The difference is the unknown notes page will have a few less stuff in it, like you won't put in your table, how you identified your unknown. You won't have your references in the unknown notes page, but everything else will be similar to your unknown notes page if you do the unknown notes page very formally. However, the unknown notes page does not have to be done formally. It can be done informally, in which case it'll look different from your unknown report. Any question about any of that? Now, for those who like doing it formally, you'll have an easier time writing up your unknown report. But if you just like talking in general, you can do that in your unknown notes page, in which case it'll be informal. All right, so I've talked about the unknown notes page, and we will use the unknown notes page for everything except for the very first information that I'll send you. And the reason why I'm sending you the results of 3 different tests, can you guys see my screen here? Can you guys see this screen?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, great, thank you. The reason why I did this is because the unknown notes project, if we were to do this where you're requesting each test and then I'm sending it, you're going to have 5 or 6 requests, and 6 requests for 20 students is way too much contact between me and each student. That would be, let's see, 20 times 6 would be 120 different contacts for one project. And I just said, that's too much work for one project. But if I give you the results to the 3 first tests, then I'm decreasing the number of contacts by 60. And that means there will only be 60 contacts in this class. And 60 is doable, okay? So I'm willing to commit to 60 different contacts with my students on the unknown notes page. And this is per average. And so I'm sending you the 3 results at the start simply to decrease the number of contacts for this project, to make this project doable. And that's the only reason why it's done this way. I've chosen the first 3 tests, but they're generally good tests to help you do it. The gelatin test I chose because this test takes a week to incubate. And when you ask for a test, the test has to incubate before I can send you the results. And so I'm sending you the gelatin test first because this test takes a week to incubate. And it's a long time to wait for your results for a week. So that's one of the reasons why I'm sending you the gelatin test. Of course, I'm giving you the Gram test because that's very good at narrowing the bacteria. If you do the Gram test, you'll have the bacteria narrowed by half immediately. And then the PR lactose test was just another good test that I decided to run. So I chose these 3 tests. And instead of sending out 60 emails, I'm going to send out only 1 email to the entire class. And you'll get your unknown number, and then you'll see the results for that number for the Gram stain, the gelatin hydrolysis, and the PR lactose. So instead of sending out 60 documents, I'm only sending out 1. And that's why I'm doing this, to make this project manageable. Because if I'm going to send out 120, that's an awful lot for one project. And that's about what it would be at the end of this project. So once I send out that information, you should take the results and the conclusion for each of these 3 tests, put them in your unknown notes page. Tell me what you think is going on, why you want to do the next test you're going to request, and then at the bottom of that document, put down the test that you're requesting. I will then read that. So we'll contact each other with the unknown notes page. And then on the comments, I will send you the test results. Okay. And if I need to comment, I'll give you a comment. Any questions about the unknown notes page and why we're using it?
Are we always going to be able to submit a new document into this one area?
Yes, you'll always submit your documents into this one area for the unknown notes page. And if you do put a test request in an email, I'm going to reply back. I want everything together in the unknown notes page. So put your request in the unknown notes page so that I and you can look at everything in the unknown notes page. So it's all together in the unknown notes page. I'm not going to honor a request that is emailed to me. Okay. So everything will be done in the unknown notes page. All right, so that's enough about the unknown notes page. Let's talk about the project. I think I'm done with that, but I'll keep it up just in case. It looks like I shut down. Yep. Instructions. Let me open up the instructions again. Blow that up a little bit. So you can read about the rationale of the project. The project does have to be formatted. You need to isolate your species, get the species identification. You can do that by obviously your chart of your unknown. Eventually you'll get only one species that's highlighted. You can get your results from that table. You can use Berge's manual. You can use the textbook. You must use, when you're doing this project, dichotomous logic. Dichotomous logic involves a series of yes or no questions. So let me start it here in a new document. We are doing dichotomous logic for the project. Oh, I got it here, but that's all right. We will have all possible bacteria. So we're just going to go all And on the gram stain, we'll have two possibilities, gram positive and gram negative. Let me make this bigger. And blow that up. So you'll quickly separate into gram positive and gram negative. Let's assume it's a gram positive. So this we're going to scratch out. Let's see if I can blow that. I'm not finding it here. Come on. There we go, straight through. So the gram positive are removed from consideration. Under the gram negative, we then have the PR lactose test, and that can be PR lactose positive and PR lactose negative. Negative. So once again, we've separated the bacteria into two possibilities, and we're going to remove this one from consideration because the results are PR lactose negative. So you can see that we're doing dichotomous logic. And it's true, I'm going to send you the results all together, but you're first going to be doing the gelatin hydrolysis test. And when do we have that on the schedule? Nope, I shut down the syllabus. Let me get the syllabus back here. 2022, is that now? No, this is the fall. I'm trying to show you this correctly, so let me call up the syllabus. You're not starting it until Tuesday, but so oh, too far. All right. So on October 18th, you're going to be starting the gelatin hydrolysis test. Where's my table? I'm writing this. So that's going to be on 10/18. You'll get results a week later. What'll that be? 7 days, and that'll be 10, 15, not 15, 25. So you get the results on 10/25. You're going to do the gram stain on Sunday. So that'll be started. What day is Sunday? About 5 days later. This is going to be about, I might not have the exact date here, but about 10/23. You're going to start the gram stain on Sunday, but you're not going to look at the results until October 25th. So you make the slide and then you look at the results on October 25th. And then you're doing the PR lactose, and this should take a day to incubate. So you're going to start that on October 24th. And then you'll get the results on October 25th. And so I'll send you all the results to these three tests on October 25th. But in reality, you started with the gelatin hydrolysis test, and then you did the gram stain, and then they did the PR lactose. So we are using dichotomous logic even the first time, where I'm going to give you the results all together on October 25th. All right. So this entire project is going to use dichotomous logic, where from after October 25th, you will ask for one test, and it can be positive or negative. And then once you get the results, you'll ask for your second test, and it can be positive or negative. So the entire project will be done using dichotomous logic. If ever you ask for more than one test at a day, I will remind you that this project is supposed to be using dichotomous logic. And do you really want to ask for more than one test at one time? If you're near the end and you're running out of time, you may want to not follow dichotomous logic, and then you'll get your results all together. However, there will be a penalty if you do not use dichotomous logic. And you can take a look at the grading sheet. I've actually got that here someplace for how this project will be graded. If you don't follow dichotomous logic, let's see if this pulls up. There it is. Was dichotomous logic used? If you don't use dichotomous logic, you will get a penalty. How does this not working? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show this and scroll. Let me shrink this, which means you'll have a harder time seeing it, but sorry about that. It's still not showing. Oh, it's because everything's showing now. Never mind. If you don't use dichotomous logic, then you will get a penalty on was dichotomous logic used. If dichotomous logic is being used, you'll get 10 points for this project. If there's one excess test, you'll get a penalty of 2. If there's 2 excess tests, you'll get a penalty of 4. And then there's shotgun approach, where you're just asking for a whole bunch of tests at once. There will be a penalty of 8. Okay. All right. Let's go on here. So this project should be using dichotomous logic. Everything should be written in your unknown notes page. Write your detailed notes, your activities, your observations, your thoughts, etc. in your unknown notes page. At the bottom of that document, give your test request. All your activities should be put together in the unknown notes page so that we can always see it, both you and I, for all your results. The project will be 75 points. The report, you'll write up a written report. It should be using bullet points. You should use 12-point font. I've got glasses, so don't have anything smaller than that. I'll have a hard time reading it. You should be using single space to make your document. Put in your daily description of what tests you run, the information you hope to gain from the test, the observations you saw from the test, and your test conclusions for that test. Remember, an observation is different from your conclusion. The observation is what you're viewing. The tube was yellow. The conclusion is your interpretation. The test was positive. Don't omit data just to make your report look better. You may include photos, tables. They can be very helpful. They're not required. You can put separate drawings in. I will send you photographs of your test results, and a lot of students just put in those photographs in your unknown notes page. That's fine. The photographs should be put in your unknown notes page. I'm sorry. You may put them in your unknown report document, meaning your unknown report. It's not required, but they can be helpful. Everything that is a photo, a drawing, a table must be completely labeled with where you got it. Most of you will get them from the internet page. Give your source for anything you grab from somebody else. Okay, so unless you made the table yourself, state where you got it from, and then put that in the references. Each report you give should start with the day and time you did the report, and that will be very easy because your unknown notes page will have a date and time for each of your document. The unknown notes page will put that in the unknown notes page directly. You do not need to detail either in your unknown notes page or your unknown report the detailed step-by-step step that you use to run the test. Just say, I ran the Graham test on October 18th, and that's all you need to state. You do not need to state, I stained the cells with crystal iodide, washed it off, then stained the cells with iodine, washed it off. You don't need to go through each step. You just need to state the test. I know the different steps for each of the tests, so you don't need to go through the details. You should give the logic for why you're giving the different tests. And at the end of your daily report in your unknown notes, not your unknown notes, it's your unknown report, you should give a table or a diagram outlining the steps you use to identify your unknown bacteria. I've got a table of this in this document here, so let's go down here. So here's a table. Initially, we had all possible bacteria, and then it was narrowed to the gram-positive species here. It was then narrowed to the catalase-positive species here. It was then narrowed to the PR mannitol negative species here, and then the PR glucose acid species here, and then the citrate positive species here, and then we narrowed it down to one species. And so this example, we have that the species identified is Micrococcus varians. Okay, so you must give a table or a diagram identifying the steps you use to identify your unknown bacteria. And that should be in your unknown report. You don't need to put that in your unknown notes page, but it should be in your unknown report. Where were we? You should also have a paragraph at the end of your unknown report discussing the organism you've identified. This can just be a paragraph or two where you're talking about the diseases the bacteria causes, the modes of transmission, common sources of the bacteria, possible treatments like penicillin G, for example, any other interesting information about the bacteria. You just need to give a paragraph, and then obviously you should have an in-text reference for where you got this information. And then at the end of your report, you should give your references. Where do we have that? I don't even have that up there, but you should have your references at the end of their unknown report. I'm sure this is in here somewhere, but I'm not finding it. All right, all background sources like your pictures you took from the internet should be put in your references. Where you got the information for your microorganism paragraph should be in your references. You may use any citation style for giving your references, but be consistent, meaning you use one citation style for all of your references. Okay. I don't think there's any requirement for how many sources you have. Let me check on that to make certain. Yeah, there's no requirement for how many references you need for this project. See what I talked about that. I talked about that. No plagiarism. If ever you grab 3 or more words from somebody else, you should put that in quotes and state where you got it from. And please do not simply grab from the internet or somebody else, put it in quotes and state where you got it from, and do this for 50% of your material. This report should be written in your own words, okay? And if you don't use your own words, then put it in quotes and state where you got it from. But I don't want to see 50% of your report where you quoted from somebody else. This report will go through a plagiarism test, okay? Meaning when you submit it, Canvas will take a look at this report and do a plagiarism test. If it's less than 20%, I'm not going to look at it. But if it's more than 20%, I will look at it. And if I find that you're plagiarizing, you will get a penalty. If it's serious plagiarism, you'll get a 0 for this project. At a minimum, I'll subtract 5% if you plagiarize. So if you're using somebody else's information, put it in quotes and state where you got it from. The grading criteria is listed here. I'm going to grade you on the logic you use, the completeness of the report, the organization, the clarity, the neatness of the report, how effective your written communication is. Like if your references have errors in it, obviously that's not clear communication. Let me talk a little bit more about the grading in a minute. And then you will be graded on successfully identifying your unknown number for the unknown species. Okay, so if you successfully identify your unknown species, you will get full points there. If you don't use proper laboratory technique, it can be costly, although this is going to be done online, so that'll be hard to foul up. Let's see if there's anything else I need to talk about here. All right, I think that's fine. Let's move on to the grading. I thought I had that earlier. Oh, let me call it up again. Oh, here it is. No, it isn't. Let me open it up again. I'm going to download it just because it'll be easier to read. So the unknown report will be graded on, what the heck? Oh, I lost that. On the utilization of your resources. If you use excess media, meaning you perform a test you don't need to, you'll get a penalty. If it's 1, you'll get -2. If you have 2 excess tests that you didn't need to do, it'll be -4. No excess tests, you'll get 10 out of 10. Was dichotomous logic used? If there's used dichotomous logic, you'll get 10 out of 10. Was all relevant tests used, meaning if you omitted one test, you'll get a -2 points penalty. No tests omitted, you'll get 10 out of 10. Was the correct species included at each step? So at each step along the way, you should state what the bacteria are under consideration. If that is always correct, you'll get 10 out of 10. If in one case, one species was wrong, you'll get a -2 points. If you don't have any species listed, you'll get lots of missing information and you'll only get 2 out of 10 points. If you have effective and clear communication, the English was correct, the grammar was correct, the spelling and punctuation are all good, you get 15 out of 15 points. If you have the correct species identified, you'll get 10 out of 10 points, and that's for a total of 75 points. Your grade will be based on how many points you get out of 75. Any question on any of that? If you identify the wrong species and it's within the same group, you'll only get a -3. Like you say, what's the name of one of those? Micrococcus luteus, and it was Micrococcus varians, you'll get 7 out of 10. If on the other hand, you have the incorrect gram stain, your species was gram positive and you identify a species that was gram negative, you'll get 0 out of 10 points. Any question on the grading? Any questions on anything at all? I think that's pretty much it. Let me state, if you're having problems with this project, send me an email and state what you don't understand, and I will get back to you about what to do to continue the project. Oftentimes, students wait until the very end before they ask me for help, and this project is going to take time to do. So if you don't get started on the project initially, you won't have time to finish the project. And we will be doing this project for the rest of the term, starting after next Tuesday. But you need at least 3 weeks to get the project done. If you start later than that, you probably won't have enough time to get the project done. And if you ask for help, 3 weeks by the end of the term, I'll get you help, but the chances of you finishing the project and using dichotomous logic is slim. Okay, so if you need help on this project, please ask me early. All right. And then this project is due, the unknown report is due Saturday, December 3rd. The unknown notes page will close Friday, December 2nd. So the last day I'll take a test request is Friday, December 2nd, and that test does need to incubate. So hopefully it'll only take 24 hours to incubate, because if it takes more than 24 hours, you're not going to get the test in time. Okay. The different tests take different times to incubate. Let me go ahead and show you some of those. Let's go ahead and shut that down, shut that down. I might keep one of these open. You can find, let me see if I'm showing that. I need to show that to you. Now it should be visible. Lab 5 unknown tests show all the different tests you can run. Each of them you can click on to see how long they take. Some of them, like the catalase test, as long as you have the bacteria ready and fresh, this one, as soon as you ask for the test, I can send the results, meaning you get the test immediately. Okay. Most of them are not like that. There's only a few that are like that. The catalase test and the oxidase test. The oxidase does require fresh cells. So if you have fresh cells, I can send it to you immediately. If you don't have fresh cells, you need to grow the fresh cells. And so you'll get your results a day later. And the pigment test can be done immediately. All the others take time to incubate. Most of them take 2 days time to incubate. There are a few that take a day to incubate, like the PR test, PR lactose test, PR glucose test. They should be done between 18 and 48 hours. But most of them take 2 days time to incubate. Some of them take longer. The MR test takes 5 days to incubate. Methyl red MR test. And then the gelatin hydrolysis is the longest. It takes 7 days to incubate. Once you ask for a test, you will not get the results until the test has incubated. Any question about any of that? All right. I think we're done here. Go ahead and shut that down. Take a look at the unknown project. Yeah, I've talked about everything here. So if there's no questions, we're done. All right. If there's no questions, I'm going to log off. I will see you next time. I think that's next Tuesday. Goodbye.